right, my man. How are you?
I'm doing super.
A little early, right?
Yeah.
We were just saying during the break that sometime this weekend, Coach Gillespie's going to kick back and relax a little bit because it's been a busy couple of days.
It has, but it's been a really nice couple of days. Yesterday the culmination of a lot of hard work out of two kids and two families, and just excited for them. And we had a little surprise announcement last night too.
Yeah, we didn't know that was happening, did we?
No, but I thought that was pretty neat. Talking about Jermaine Holmes committing to go to Marshall.
Absolutely. Yesterday, of course, last night on ESPNU, Jay Rome makes his verbal commitment to the University of Georgia. And then last night here in Valdosta, Malcolm Mitchell in some suspense with I don't know if it was a complete surprise announcement, but a lot of folks thought Malcolm may go to Alabama, but he puts on that Georgia hat and he's going to be going to Athens with Jay. So.
Yeah, it really was a tough decision for both of those kids, and especially for Malcolm, and it did come down to the wire. I think that process can become very stressful for those kids and for those families. It's the recruiters for both schools, and I know both those guys and all the different coaches that were involved, and they did a great job recruiting, and that's their job, is to try to get in there and make it tough for those guys to say no and form relationships, and both of them did just that, and it was a difficult decision for Malcolm and as well for Jay, and so kind of glad for it to be behind.
And of course, Jarquez Samuel as well, making a commitment to go to Marshall, as well as last night you mentioned linebacker Jermaine Holmes, so you'll have two up there playing for the Thundering Herd.
Yeah, we're excited as well about that. Those two guys went up to Marshall last weekend, had a great visit. Jarquez actually committed while he was there on the visit, and then Freak came back, talked it over with his family, and committed Tuesday morning. No, it was Wednesday morning.
Gotcha. So they got two great ones there for your defense. Let me ask you, we've talked a lot about Malcolm being a wide receiver and a defensive back, and I'm sure that the University of Georgia and everybody else who spoke to him talked to him about both of those positions. In your mind, is there one that you think he would be better at, or is there one that he prefers playing? Or
in the beginning, I thought that he was going to be a better defensive back, whether it be a corner or a safety. He would be a big corner or maybe a slightly undersized safety at 6'190". Those guys are always looking for big corners that can move like that. That's a hard commodity to find, and I thought that he was going to be a prototypical big corner that they're all looking for. And early on, that's what he was recruited as. And his skills as a receiver were somewhat raw. He was a really just an athlete that was playing receiver that we were able to get the ball to in space. But it's a credit to him. He worked to develop his skills as a receiver, and as the season went along, you started saying, this guy may be able to develop enough skills to be a receiver on the next level. Because a lot of guys, and it's easy to make plays, and there's a difference between making plays and being a receiver. And he kind of developed into one as the year went along, and then about midway through the year, you started saying, hey, maybe he belongs on offense. And I think both schools, all the schools at that time, recruiting started to reevaluate, and then it became a deal of need. And I think Alabama continued to kind of place the priority on the big corner because that guy is so hard to find, and then I think Georgia just kind of tossed it up in the air and said, where do you want to play?
Coach Rance Gillespie with us this morning, Monty Long as well, Jay Rome, Malcolm Mitchell will be with us this morning, also Jarquez.
He told me last night he would be here, so
okay.
We're
hope to have him as well.
Yeah, we're looking forward to talking to him and seeing what it was like up in Huntington, West Virginia.
And I tell you, we really, I wish we could fit the entire senior class in this room because it was such a great class. We talk about a lot about these guys, the four that we've just mentioned, but really, Coach, especially for your first year, that's a pretty special senior class that really did a great job this year.
No question, and I've said repeatedly, from day one, I felt like we could get a good product on the field quickly. because of that senior class and the talent that was in it. And the other thing that people have heard me say is it just depended on how quickly we could make the transition. And not the transition to learning the scheme and those things, but just the transition into learning the practice pace, learning the work habits, and all those things. And just credit those seniors that hey, that we want to win, we want to do whatever this guy says, and so they stepped out there and did it, and it takes some trust, and they did that.
Absolutely.
You know what's amazing is it's very rare that you even have one D1 player sign a college scholarship. I mean, it's not easy to be a D1 player or to get a D1 scholarship. We got 4.
That's right.
And I guess there's a possibility of another one. I don't know, but you never know. But that's a lot for one team. That's really amazing.
Yeah, it really is. It's a great year for us, and when these kids are doing these things, it's like I said before, it's a culmination of a lot of things. It's not just their athletic ability anymore.
Right.
I mean, it speaks highly of what they've done academically, and it also speaks highly of where they're at as far as their character. Because from being on the other side of it, once the easiest thing to do was to go out and find 25 guys that could play ball. I mean, the woods are full of those guys. The tough thing was to find out 25 guys that could play ball and qualify. And then the really, really, really tough thing, the thing that really separated the great classes from the mediocre classes, were to find the ones that could play ball, have grades, and were good kids. Yeah. But that's what these guys get paid to do nowadays. Is you're making an investment, and they get paid to hang around and learn as much about these kids' character as they possibly can.
You've always said it's like when you coach these kids and teach them, this is their job interview.
No question. No question. Every day you're around that coach, it is a job interview.
But and you know what? It's a lot of fun for the fans, though. Ever since the season is over, there's a group of guys that tend to hang around my office every day, and every day it's where they going. It's a lot of fun to talk about, and the speculation and the phone calls.
What was the speculation down at the office?
The speculation was Jay to Georgia. It always has been.
Right.
And Malcolm leaning toward Alabama. But something, I had a gut feeling. I don't know.
You said it yesterday.
I did. I had a gut feeling yesterday he was going to Georgia. And then what was funny is somebody texted me last night right before the announcement said they saw Kirby Smart leaving the high school in a rage yesterday. Now whether that was true or not, I don't know. But I thought it was funny, But he's what a great kid Malcolm is, and looking forward to talking with him this morning, and they should be getting close.
And I don't think you can emphasize that enough about the quality of their character, because when I was talking with staying with Jay's dad about this, of course he gave all the credit for his good raising to Laverne, his wife, but
right.
To go on ESPN.com and to see your face on there, and to see that you're the #1 tight end in America, and for Malcolm to see that you're one of the top 50 players in America. I mean, if you told me that when I was 17 years old, you couldn't have fit my head through that door. I mean, it takes a lot of a pretty good kid to keep all that into perspective. How much did you talk with him about that?
Well, we have talked about that, and we talked extensively about that yesterday with both of them, and that the words needed to be somewhat weighed yesterday, because whatever they said, whatever came out of their mouth, would be heavily evaluated by a lot of different people, and that this was really the start to their college career, and you wanted it to get off on a good foot, and you wanted everybody to think that you're the first class kid that you are. So we did talk a lot about that. Now, it didn't take a lot of convincing for them to act like that. Yeah. But basically all I was doing was trying to prepare them for the scrutiny that they're going to see from here on out.
Yeah. Again, we're talking with Coach Rance Gillespie, Monty Long with us, Jay Rome, Malcolm Mitchell, Jarquez Samuel. We hope they're all going to be here this morning. Whenever you have playmakers like that on offense, when you have a Jay Rome and you have a Malcolm Mitchell, does that change as a coach what you say, well, let's maybe try something that usually I might not try, or let's try some sets, or did you specialize what you try to do because you had such great players?
I don't know that we put anything in particular into the offense because of those guys, but I tell you what we did do, we emphasized different areas of the offense, certainly because of those guys. I mean, we tried to get the ball to the tight end, we tried to get the ball out on the perimeter. We may have thrown a few more quick screens and things like that than we typically do because of Malcolm's ability to get the ball in space and do something with it.
Yeah. Again, what a great season they had. What great careers they had, and it's going to be exciting to see them play together in Athens. And Monty, you talked with them a lot, and there was some talk that they were going to go somewhere together that they wanted to, but then it sounded like they really, as good of friends as they are, they did want to keep it independent. They didn't pressure each other too much, to go to the same place.
Well, according to Jay, as of yesterday, he still didn't know where Malcolm was going.
Yeah, I know that for a fact. I was with Jay when we went to Tallahassee, and he looked at me, and this is probably 3:30 or 4 o'clock. It was on the way back, so I guess it was really later than that. And he looked at me and goes, "You know, don't you?" And I said, "Well, not really." And he goes, "Tell me." I said, "I ain't telling you because I told the boy I wasn't going to tell you." But I did not know until late yesterday afternoon.
Yeah.
So
I talked with Malcolm, yesterday's Thursday, right? Yeah, I talked with Malcolm Wednesday. I said, "Do you know Malcolm?" He goes, "Yes, sir. I know where I'm going." And I said, "Well, good for you. I'm proud for you wherever you go. If he went to California, I would have been pulling for him. But
absolutely.
I'm proud that they're up there with Mike Gilliard.
Yes, right.
Mike Gilliard to be able to kind of take them under his wing and kind of show them the ropes at Georgia. So we got 3 Wildcats now.
Absolutely.
Playing for the University of Georgia, so that's awesome.
No doubt about it. And, as this whole thing went through, I know you go through a lot to consider. It's one of the biggest decisions of your life. And, again, you don't want to put too much pressure on them, but it really is. I mean, it can dictate who you meet down the road and where you go and all those kinds of things. And so, it was a big decision, but I can't underscore enough how much they handled it gracefully and great attitudes. And again, I just think that goes back to what kind of kids that they are and what kind of job that you did with them this year as well.
Well, I appreciate it, and I am very proud of the way that they represented Valdosta last night. Again, just 2 class act kids, and they did a good job handling that situation.
And you couldn't figure out another way to get them one more year, huh?
I'm working on it.
I thought yesterday we could redshirt them or gray shirt them.
Yes. And I know you talked with all the recruiters, and I'm sure that Coach Mike Bobo, the offensive coordinator at the University of Georgia, who was there last night as well, very happy to have both of these guys coming in. And again, Georgia wants some playmakers, and there's been a lot of talk about getting that program turned back around. As I've said repeatedly on this show, I just don't think Georgia's that far away from jumping right back into the national elite.
I don't either. I really don't. And, I think Coach Rick, one thing that you have to admire about Coach Rick is the type of person that he is. And I think that played a big role in recruiting. I really do, because I know both the families think the world of him. And, I think that he did a really, really nice job in the recruitment of these or at least my 2 kids.
Yeah.
And he was very active and did a good job. And then Coach Bobo was the lead recruiter, and I think year in year out Bobo is an outstanding recruiter, which is really uncommon when you talk about a coordinator.
Right.
He's got his typically once you become a coordinator, your roles as a recruiter diminish, and his haven't. And that speaks volumes for what he's done for that school as a recruiter.
Right.
He's worked hard enough and learned enough ball and done well enough to be promoted to a coordinator's position. And I think, heck, if they would have done a little bit better in the bowl game, they would have set some kind of record for offensive points this year. And of course, you're evaluated most on your last game. We all understand that, but but he's so valuable as a recruiter that they don't. It's not like they're giving him the Atlanta area or the Athens area. They put him in South Georgia, which makes a lot of sense. He's from Thomasville.
He played here, so he knows the land.
And that's forgotten sometimes. You're right. But before the loss to Central Florida, the last 7 games of the year, when they had A.J. Green back, they averaged over 30 points. And you're not playing William and Mary. I mean, you're playing Auburn and Georgia Tech and Florida. Yeah. I mean, playing some pretty good competition. So, Monty, you've been around the program for so long. Seeing these guys come through, watching them play, not just this year, but the last several years. And there's been so many great Wildcats over the years. But these 2 certainly will, I think, go down in history as 2 of the best.
Oh, without a doubt. I've had this conversation before, I think. And I've been a diehard Wildcat fan since '87. That's when I moved to Valdosta and became a Wildcat fan. And And I've seen a lot of great ones, I really have. But I can honestly say I think Malcolm Mitchell is one of the most talented players I've seen on this field since I've been here. Now I know there's been some great ones in the past, some Dana Brinsons and some Jerome Callaways and Tony Andersons and things like that. And I didn't get to see those guys play. But yeah, without a doubt, two of the most awesome kids that's come through here since I've been around. And like Coach said, not only great players but great students and great kids. Off the field. And I'm proud of them. And I got to tell you this story before. I remember, all day yesterday it's speculation. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? And I get a phone call at my office. It's Buck Baloo. And Buck says, "Monty, where's he going?" I said, "Buck, I don't know." I said, I think he's going to Georgia." He said, "Well, you tell him today. Call him up. Tell him if he'll come to Georgia, I will make sure he gets number 8."
Can Buck actually make that promise?
I don't know, but I thought that was funny. And then I thought it was odd that Justin Rome had a number 8 Georgia jersey on.
Buck had on Atlanta radio. They were both coming to Athens. They said everybody going up there in the Atlanta area yesterday. But again, nobody really knew, like you said, until last night when he grabbed that hat and put it on and the place went berserk. So again, Malcolm Mitchell, J. Rome, scheduled to be joining us. Hopefully they're on their way to talk about their commitments to the University of Georgia. Jarquez Samuel and Jermaine Holmes, on the defensive side of Valdosta, which is very good this year. They're both going to play for the Marshall, the Thundering Herd, and those commitments. And those, we have signing day, of course, Wednesday, February the 2nd, and we'll probably have some more from Valdosta High School as well.
Yeah, we hope so. We've got a couple of guys that I'm actually driving up next weekend to a college that will remain unnamed, I guess, at this point. But and they're going to take a visit, so we're excited about the opportunity for those guys, and hopefully it'll work out for a couple more of our guys.
And of course, your number one objective when you are a coach is to win ball games. But number two, when you see these guys go on, no matter if it's the University of Georgia, Marshall, Valdosta State, wherever it is, even if it's a NAIA school, getting a chance to get that education has got to be right next to winning games is your number one objective.
Well, Chris, I think the number one objective is, and we say this as our mission statement, is that kid is somehow a better person, better prepared for life because they went through our program. I think if you approach your program that way, the winning will come.
Right.
So, yeah, if we've done everything that we possibly can, and we all have ownership in this thing, and if we've got a kid that's good enough to play somewhere that doesn't, because of something that fell through the cracks between his 9th grade year and his senior year, then we've all come up short, and we're all disappointed. So when they don't, when all of those pieces fall together for that 2% that are able to go on and do it, it's as big as winning.
Right.
And it's a life change for these kids, and it's a huge part of a good football program.
Absolutely. Coach Rance Gillespie with us this morning. Again, we're going to have the guys on here. Hopefully, whenever we come back, we'll take a quick break and a reminder. And I know something that's on J. Rome's mind. He's playing the Lowndes Vikings tonight in Wintersville basketball style at Valdosta High School. Monty Long will be doing the Wildcats and the Vikings tonight on 105.9. That's going to be about 7:30 tonight, 7:30, 8 o'clock for tip-off for that game. Should be a great one. Anytime Lowndes and Valdosta get together, it's always great. It's going to be a packed house at Valdosta High School tonight. And that's another reason Jay's probably glad to be done with recruiting. He can focus on basketball, which I know he loves as well. And he's a pretty competitive kid, so he's going to be ready to play tonight.
Yeah, he can play a little bit.
He can play a little bit. He is a beast down low. So we'll take a quick break and come right back more.